Hello, great people. I am Dana Bell, and thank you for coming to my podcast, Believe in Your Better. And this podcast is specifically for you, those who are trying to come out of a funk, a stuck feeling, a I don't see a future for me feeling. This is the podcast you need to be listening to. And today I have a great woman on here who is going to give you a great example of forging forward. Don't look at any defeats to keep you from moving towards your goal. And her name is Shamika T. Eskew. We met each other in a mastermind, and it has been just that masterful for our minds. And I found out that she was from Michigan, just like me, and we connected. And so I'm going to let her briefly introduce herself so that you can see how we became friends.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your amazing podcast.
Thank
I,
you.
yeah, of course. So I am originally, as you said, from Michigan. I was born and partly raised in Detroit, on the east side of Detroit.
Okay.
And my mom relocated me to Lansing, Michigan, um, as I was entering into my fifth grade year for
Hmm.
elementary school. So I grew up in Lansing from fifth grade till, high school, graduated there and ended up going to Tennessee State University and HBCU. Loved it. Was one of the best experiences of my life.
Right,
And
right.
always known I wanted to become an attorney, so I went to law school. And here I am, a practicing attorney in the states of Michigan and in Florida.
Okay. So now, you said you've always known that you wanted to be an attorney.
hmm
So tell me, how did that look as a kid when, you know, you want to do those other things, playing, be a part of different groups, hanging out with your friends. So tell me, how did your direction go during that period?
So I knew from a very young age that I always liked fairness. I never
Okay.
liked people being treated differently. So that's initially what sparked my interest in okay, what can I do where I think people would be treated fairly? At one point, I thought it was going to be law enforcement, but my mom quickly got rid of that idea. And so it was still in that same kind of arena, the legal field, where I said, well, maybe this is something that's for me. So ultimately, I ended up having life experiences. Like my family member had her children taken away, and I didn't understand that process and why that took place because her
Okay.
children were the same age as me. And so I later learned in life that they were removed due to abandonment, abuse, or neglect. Obviously, dependency matters. So that's another reason that stirred me into, becoming an attorney. So growing up, obviously we have those things that we like to do. You asked about specifically like playing sports or just, how did I manage is what I'm hearing. You,
Hmm.
when you know what you want to do, you always make time for it. So ultimately, I knew that having a plan and working towards that plan was the way to go, and I've always been that way. I write it down and I work towards that goal until it's accomplished.
All right. So hearing that, I want to know, so as a kid, you never had any deterrence with that? You were one of those kids, hey, this is the plan, I'm focused and I'm moving forward. No, you didn't allow any nonsense, so to speak, to interfere.
Yeah, I'm a pretty decisive person. So I don't have many characteristics of being indecisive.
Okay.
When I know what I want, my mind does not change. It stays there until it's done. So no, I didn't have like the back and forth. The only time I can think of a period of my life where it appeared that I was indecisive is when I was in college. And that was because at that tender age, you are heavily influenced by people. So I
Hmm.
started out in the pre-law program, but then people were like, hey, they don't have a great pre-law program, so you should do business. And then they were like, hey, you should change it from business to something more specific. So I kept changing it. And
Okay.
so on paper, it looked like I was indecisive, but I always knew I wanted to be in law school. That's why I started with pre-law to begin with. So That's the
Okay.
only thing I can think of in my 41 years of living where it
Hmm.
appeared that I was indecisive or just, like, did you know what you wanted to do? Did you ever waver? There was not much waver there.
Okay. All right. Um, so I brought that up because you know how sometimes people they may have a plan, but they're easily, like you said, influenced by friends, family members, but then too they get distracted,
Hmm.
right? They might have the feeling of less than, or
Hmm.
they might have the feeling of I want this real quick. So
Hmm.
that deters them from their plan, but they not understand that, oh well no, if I do this just a couple of times, it's okay,
Yeah,
type of
that's
thing.
normal. I even experienced that.
Okay.
However, I kept, forging forward, as
Hmm.
you said.
Okay. So I like how you brought up, you said you had a family member that had her children taken away from her. And
Yes.
so and that's the type of law that you practice today, right? Family
Yes,
court.
I do family law. Yes.
Okay. Family law and also what is
Personal
the
injury.
personal injury? All
Yeah.
right. So walk us through that process. What does that family law, what does that look like on a regular day?
It's all over the place because people's emotions are all over the place.
Okay. All
So,
right.
as I'll tell you, as a lawyer, it looks like me going to court, advocating on people's behalf as far as what their rights, what they desire, as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a matter of fighting for custodial rights for fathers. It could be a matter for fighting for mothers, and getting fairness when it comes to support for the children. It could be a matter of parents deciding that they no longer want to be married and they just want to co-parent. So it just depends on the type of case that I'm working on. I would tell you day in and day out, I'm always putting my clients first. So it's always a matter of making certain that what can I do to better their experience because this is
Okay.
like likely the worst time of their lives. And so when you said, what is it like? There's never a repeat day as far as like what each
Every day
day
is
looks like
different.
as far as like what I may encounter, but the
Mm-hmm.
process itself, I tell
Mm-hmm.
everybody, family law, in my opinion, is very easy. Like it comes naturally easy to me. The
Okay.
most challenging part is dealing with people and where they are as far as their emotions. And,
Mm-hmm.
when you are in a very vulnerable, you're in an uncertain position, you tend to be a little bit more sensitive than normal.
Mm-hmm.
And so
That's true.
sometimes you can respond to things differently than what you normally would if you weren't in this vulnerable space.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have somebody that understands what you're experiencing, has patience, gives grace, and just encourage you along the way.
Okay. So would you agree that the adults that are going through this process may not be self-aware in a
Hmm.
sense to be able to manage their emotions, their responses to certain things?
Absolutely, for sure. I apologize. My dogs are in here. Can we
Oh,
take a quick pause? I'm so
okay.
sorry.
Okay. Um, so can you explain a little bit how you assist your clients when they're going through that difficult space, but they are contributing to their discomfort because of the way that they're responding and not really processing how what it is they need to do for themselves. Not so much what the other parent needs to do, but what they need to do.
Yeah, so I'm very big on accountability. That's one of my core values,
Okay.
just in life. And so I quickly recognize sometimes that they are the problem. And so I find a way to have them look in the mirror without saying, like,
Hmm.
you need to
Hmm.
look in the mirror, kind of thing.
Okay. Right.
So I just give them some pointers on, hey, I would have communicated it like this to the other parent
Mm.
because the way you said this is causing them to respond this way. So
Yes.
if this is what you're looking for, then this would be my recommendation as to how to correspond with the other parent so that way you can have a different outcome.
Okay. So not only are you the attorney, you have to be the referee.
Oh my Lord. Not necessarily a referee, because that sounds more like a kind of like a mediator, like a in-between. But I am overseeing sometimes the communication because I know those communications will come up in court. And so
Mm-hmm.
I never want my client to look like the bad cop in court
Right,
or the bad person rather.
right. A villain.
So
Okay.
yeah, so it's a matter of managing expectations, ensuring that the clients are communicating effectively. There's a lot to
Mm-hmm.
practice in law, way more than what I would have expected.
I can imagine, right? As a counselor, I'm dealing with those people as they learn about themselves and learn how
Mhm,
to identify their thoughts and emotions and the emotions that they attach to different situations, right?
mhm,
So, um, I can imagine that it is difficult. You're trying to explain the law, how to present before the judge, and then they're really stuck in an emotional space with
mhm.
something that happened in the past. Or,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
absolutely.
All right. So tell now, again, I'm going to go back. So the podcast is for people who get stuck and feel
Okay.
like they're too old, they're too young, um, they're not educated enough, or they have too much education and they cannot move out of their um, place to go after their dreams,
Mhm,
to assure some type of happiness and pleasantry in their lives, right?
mhm.
So I want you to expound upon your experience with, yep, this was my dream, but maybe it wasn't my dream.
Repeat that when you say this is my dream, but maybe it wasn't my dream. What do you mean by
The
that?
challenges that you had when you were obtaining um, your license
Hmm.
or completing the bar,
Right,
not your
right.
license. Okay.
Yeah, it's a license. So, I mean, I definitely had hiccups. There was definitely roadblocks. There's never going to be a process that's smooth sailing.
Right.
There's
Right.
always going to be hiccups that come along the way. So,
Mm-hmm.
people who are feeling stuck for whatever the reason may be, one, it's a feeling. And I think that's one of the things we need to recognize is that, okay, today I'm feeling this way, but tomorrow will be totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So recognizing that this is just how I feel today, but I'll work through this and I'll have to figure out a way to get to that ultimate goal, which is whatever that goal is for them, right? So as
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned earlier, I was the kind of person where I like to see my plans written down. So whatever the plan was. So if it was going to law school and passing the bar exam. All of these were on notes.
Okay.
But again, there were always challenges. It took me several times to even get into law school. It took me, I failed the bar exam 7 times. You know,
Oops.
it's
Okay.
there's always going to be something. And so I just believe, I'm a firm believer that no matter what, you just keep forging forward until you can, reach that goal. Because we all have stories where we've been challenged.
Mm-hmm. But and you know what? Even though that's true, for whatever reasons, we as humans seem to believe that, oh no, I don't want to share this. No, I don't want anybody to know. I'm not asking for help.
Mhm.
This is only happening to me. So can you share a little bit about, like you said, when some hiccups came about,
Mhm.
how did you reconstruct yourself? Because like for you to have that mindset of today I feel, I feel weird, I feel funky, I feel upset. And
Mhm.
then you tell yourself, you sing a different song saying,
Mhm.
no, tomorrow is better. It's a new
Mhm.
day. Let me move forward.
Mhm. So I would tell you that for me, I always like to look at each day as a reset.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
when I wake up, I literally have a mental reset button. So whatever happened the day prior, whether it was challenging, whether it was great, today's
Hmm.
a new opportunity. So for those people who feel like, okay, yeah, I'm in this position, I'm feeling stuck, they have to tell themselves that, okay, I got to hit this reset button because if they want to stay where they are, some people are complacent in where they are. And I had to come
Hmm.
to that realization. Some folks like being where they are. And so that's why they're in the predicament that they are. But those people who feel stuck and they don't want to be there, eventually they're going to get sick and tired of being sick and tired and will just have the faith to get up and pursue their goal, whatever that may be.
Hmm.
So that's my thing. Figure out what it is that you genuinely want to do and just know that there are people that are just like you. You're not alone in thinking that, oh my
Right.
gosh, I'm the only one that's experiencing this. Woe is me. No, there were plenty, like when I was going through the bar exam challenge, the journey. I wasn't the only one that was failing and failing and failing. You know,
Hmm.
I found people who were also in that boat who eventually passed. And so I talked to them as encouragement.
Right.
So
Right.
find people who are in those positions that you were once in or you are in now and they were once in and talk to them about how did you overcome. That's one thing I like to do for sure.
Yes, yes. So, and that's a very good point because I tell my clients that, right? Um, your norm is to be in this state,
Hmm.
whatever the state is. If your anxiety level, your body is letting you know this is what's going on and it doesn't like it.
Hmm.
So you have to stop and say, well, hey, why am I anxious? What am I fearful about?
Hmm.
And recognize it, accept what it is, and now
Hmm.
say, well, how do I change?
Right.
What is it that I need to change? And what's one step can I take towards that change?
Yeah.
So because they are comfortable, because that's how they've been for the last few years,
Hmm.
it is hard to move out from it. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's why I thought it would be real good to have you on to show, all right, this is what fortitude looks like.
Hmm.
Yes, it is painful. Yes, it is challenging, but the end result makes all the difference.
It really does.
Yes. So what type of things, like you said, what are like some action steps that you take as you try to move forward out of a step? Because I know you're transitioning right into different areas. So what action steps would you give for your movement?
So my transition isn't not necessarily being stuck. Mine is more so I want to expand on my purpose.
Okay.
So my action items there started with, again, having the plan. What is it
Hmm.
that I want to do? Who do I want to service? Why do I want to do it? And I think that's where people are probably stuck. They don't really know why they want what they really want.
Right, right.
So once you figure out the why, everything else becomes easy. You have to figure out why. Is this thing going to get you up every day? If it won't,
Yes,
then you might want to reconsider because
yes.
it's just going to be a feeling of, okay, I did it today, but tomorrow I don't feel like it, right? Because
Hmm.
that's how we are. We are
Right,
creatures where we do things that we feel like and we don't do things that we don't feel like doing, right?
right.
But when it's something that's driving you and it's bigger than you, then ultimately is going to keep you going. So I'm always going to say definitely have a plan. Two, finding a mentor, finding
Hmm.
someone who's already done what you want to do. Three, figuring out, okay, what kind of dream life do I want from this plan? Right? So like my
Hmm.
goal this year is to take my entire team to Europe.
Okay,
How am I going to do that? All right. I have to hit so many financial goals in order to accomplish this goal. And my team
okay,
is now excited. So now they're sharing in this vision and this dream. So
okay.
definitely start with a plan, a mentor, and figuring out from this what kind of life you want. And that needs to be part of your why every day.
Hmm.
Sticky notes. When I talk about sticky notes, like I used to live by sticky notes. I don't do it as much, now, but I used to
Hmm.
literally have one in my kitchen, in my bathroom, and by the door to leave out. So that way I can see it every single day of, all right, this is a goal.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. Do you have goals written down, or you have mottos, or little affirmations all over the place?
Yeah, I have goals in my notes. So I'm a big Apple Note girl. I use
Hmm.
notes for everything. So my goal notes for 2026 are in my Apple Notes. So I refer to them often. Yes.
Not just, wait a minute, you mean to tell me after you created it, you read it once or twice and you still go back to it? The once or twice did not, that wasn't enough, was it?
You need to see it as often as possible because
Hmm.
life is going to happen. Things are going to come up. It's going to be distractions. And so those distractions are going to deter you from whatever goals you have written down. So I constantly have to refer back to remind myself, okay, this is why I'm doing this. This is what I want.
All right. So now tell us about what internal battles you have had as you created this great practice of yours, from the time of, I guess, college to present day.
Mhm.
What have been some of your internal battles?
My biggest internal challenge has been my money mindset. I
Okay.
grew up, my mom was on welfare when we lived in Detroit.
Okay.
And so I didn't come from much. And growing up in the church, I did see, I never heard it, but I saw a lot of people, I can kind of say bashing pastors for having money and having wealth. So it
Hmm.
appeared that having wealth was a bad thing. Like
Yes.
having
Yes.
prosperity was not a good thing. You know, you hear the prosperity gospel and things like that. So growing up, I'm like, okay, it's bad to be prosperous. Like you shouldn't be prosperous, even though that's a total
Right.
contradiction to God's word. But as a child, I saw that, I did hear some of it. I have to retract the initial statement, but I did hear some of it. And so, because of that, I believe I developed this subconscious that I'm going to work hard, but I'm not going to gain all this wealth because wealth is
Mm.
bad. And
Okay.
the older I'm getting, I'm recognizing that wealth is not bad. Wealth
No.
is actually a resource, a tool to help God's
Right.
people. And so,
Absolutely.
now that I know that, and now that I can, comfortably live in that truth, I'm going after as much as I can. I'm no longer playing it small.
Okay.
Like the time is time out for playing small. I have an amazing, service that I can offer people as an attorney. We do great things, and why not have them choose me is now my mindset. And so
Mhm.
I'm screaming it to the rooftop so that way I can help more people.
Okay. That is beautiful.
Thank
And it's it's great that you acknowledge and identify a different mindset
you. Hmm.
that was needed to pull you through from one end of the spectrum to another. I like
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you.
Um, now, as you made your what do I want to call it, your acknowledgement in regards to going forward and not playing small,
Hmm.
let the audience understand what that dream looks like.
I have billboards in Florida and in Michigan, in Detroit.
Yes, you do.
I do. I actually,
Oh
actually
my
just,
goodness, it's so cute. I
thank
love
you.
it. I
Oh, did you
love
see
it.
it?
I love it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So ultimately, I decided that in order for people to know about the service that we do, you need to market better. And so social
Hmm.
media is great. Word of mouth is phenomenal. There are avenues that we've already been marketing on, but I decided let's go where the big dogs are playing. And so I
Right,
wanted to
right.
advertise on billboards, and so they're up. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about, the impact that we'll make. We're doing
Hmm.
great work. The reason why our firm is set apart from other firms is because I'm not just an attorney who's just here to push paperwork and argue in court. I'm
Hmm.
really wanting to see families heal and become whole, even though it's going to be a process. But I just want to
Hmm.
be part of that process with them and give them some encouragement and light along the way. Because it's
Yes,
challenging. It really is. I've been through my own personal divorce, so I know firsthand what it's like going through that family law process.
right. And it is going to hurt. And it's okay to understand that it is going to hurt.
Hmm.
However, these steps will help you to get to your better.
Hmm.
And I love your social media content that you put out. You take
Oh,
the time to you name what the point is, you let them know this is what you should do, this is what you should not do before you go before the judge, before you and your partner or spouse sit together. You let them know the ins and outs, and you give it to them very clear. I
Thank
love that. So,
you.
tell the audience your social media handles, if you would, where they can find you.
Oh, absolutely. So we are on all social media platforms. So that's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I shouldn't say all, but those ones. And it
Hmm.
is Askew, ASKEW, Law Office.
Okay, good, good. So, um, and look, you look so intently too when you are uh, um, giving an explanation of
Mhm.
different tactics and or processes. I'm like, if she is not the best, those people who hire you, they are really blessed, because
Oh, thank
who
you.
is taking the time with them to walk through their emotions with them,
Mhm.
because like you said, that's challenging to help people. You're helping them maneuver through this legal aspect, but we also have to touch base with the emotions so that we can walk through there.
The reason why it's so important to me is because I know that people are preyed on,
Hmm.
not prayed
Hmm.
for, preyed on because of
Hmm.
that. And people who are indecisive, extremely emotional, compulsive, they end up spending the most money when it comes to attorney's fees because they're not thinking with their reason and their logic. They are full of emotion. And
Hmm.
so when that happens, they're calling their lawyer, they're emailing their lawyer, they're just all over the place. And anytime you talk to an attorney, they're billing you for it. So I have to
Hmm.
calm my clients down and have to remind them that I'm here, but remember, like, let's be cognizant of how often we're talking because I don't want to have to bill you for things that, you can speak to your therapist about or a friend or something like that. So,
Hmm.
yes, it's a lot, but it's worth it.
That's good. Like I said, I like the care that you give with
I
them.
appreciate it.
It's very evident through the social media. So to watch you live, that might be something like we need to make a show out of Miss Askew. Yes.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so tell me if there is something that you believe today that you didn't believe in the past when you were trying to accomplish your goals.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that question. Tell you something that I believe today that I did not believe in the past was my goals. When it comes to my goals, it's always going back to money.
Okay,
It's a matter of
so
I
that
can
was big. Yeah.
I can achieve, yes, I can achieve um the multi-million dollars like other law firm business owners. It's not just for a certain group of people. Um, I do deserve to obtain wealth so that way I can be a blessing to other people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say as it relates to my goals. But there is something that I was prepared to say as it relates to that I do want people to hear. And
Okay.
that is one of the things that I did not believe back then, but that I believe now, is that back then I did not believe that healthy families existed. I did not believe there were healthy romantic relationships. I thought everybody relationship was toxic and
Okay.
unhealthy because of the environment that I grew up in, as well as being a
Mm-hmm.
divorce lawyer. But since I've been on my healthy and wholeness journey, and it's a journey, I'm still learning and growing. I have
Yes.
not arrived yet, but I do now believe that romantic relationships, healthy ones, are possible and they do exist.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
one thing that, for any listener out there that may have been like me, that is considering like, I don't know if marriage is for me, the marriage statistic, the divorce statistics, it's horrible. Like, why would I want to do that? It's not, that doesn't have to be you, is what
Right.
I'm saying.
Right. Right. Yes, I have clients that because they're going through or have been through some pretty
Mhm.
rough relationships. So they feel that that's just the norm. That's a
Mhm.
part of being in a relationship that, you know, the violence, the ugliness, the
Mhm.
cheating. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure no, it's not.
Mhm.
You have some couples who they are true to themselves and to others.
Mhm.
So I try to help people understand you have to know who you are.
Mhm.
And when you decide that you're going to share yourself
Mhm.
with another, be mindful of who you are. What are your
Yeah.
values? What are your standards first?
Right.
Don't look at this person and think, hey, they're going to change me because they're on a higher level. Why would you think that?
Right.
No,
No,
no. No, you are you and you have to work out how to be a better you.
exactly.
Yeah. So that yeah, that's really good. So now as you started that off with thinking that the that no relationship, that's how relationships are, did
Mhm.
you have a different view with the law?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So when I became an attorney, I was so excited to become an attorney. I went through obviously law school, the training through law school,
Mm-hmm.
finally passed the bar exam. And the first time I walked into court, it was not formal how I expected it to be.
Oh.
Because I specifically went in to litigation because I always knew I wanted to be in the courtroom. And so in law school, they train you the formality of how the courtroom works, the courtroom etiquette, how things are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be done, how you approach witnesses, approach the bench, like all of it. And I walked into my first courtroom for my first case ever in 2016, and we were just sitting at a table. And it wasn't even a courtroom. It was just a room with a big table and a judge
Okay.
was sitting at the end. And I was thinking, what is this? So I quickly learned that a lot of the formalities that I had gained knowledge and experience in, it was
Mm-hmm.
not being utilized how I was taught. And so some of the things that I've wanted to use and practice and hone in on my skills, they're just not being heavily used in family law. And so that's one of the drawbacks that I've had in
Mm-hmm.
being an attorney. Is like I'm not getting that full experience that I would have liked to. Uh,
Okay.
Another thing when it comes to the legal field that I was kind of surprised about is how some of the judges rule. Most people think that they're going before an impartial judge, emphasis added on impartial,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to make the best decision, right? Based on
Okay.
facts and circumstances.
Sure.
And that's not always the case. I mean, you have some judges that do, but then you have some judges that make decisions because they like the other lawyer and or they don't like the other lawyer
Okay.
or
Emotions.
you
Isn't that how ET um, teaches not to let emotions run your business. You're
Mhm.
making these decisions. Oh, well, that's my cousin and I really want to help them. Yeah, but that might not be a wise decision for your business.
Exactly. So yes.
So I was going to ask that too when you said it wasn't as formal. Is
Mhm.
that because of the judge that's presiding in that court, or is it the overall way they handle family law?
It's not in every courtroom. And I'm glad you asked that. So there are some judges who are more formal than
Hmm.
others. So yes, it's not just a judge thing. It could be a circuit thing. It could be like the morale of that circuit. Kind of like
Okay.
an office, like this office may, wear jeans on Friday and they're kind of laid
Mhm.
back, where another office they still come in suited and booted and
Okay.
it's to a T, but same
Hmm.
company, but just different divisions doing different things. So
Okay.
think of it that way. Some circuits are still very much formal, while others are more lax. I kind of just wish it was formal across the board. And so I have to like figure out, okay, is this judge going to be formal? And do I get to like use my skills? Or is it going to be kind of lax and it's not even really a trial? It's just the judge trying to figure out what are we doing and what's the issue? So
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
just depends on which circuit you're in.
Okay. So now, if I hear you correctly, if we were doing if we were doing and or talking about the flight assessment, you are a air traffic control
To a T.
to a
Yes.
T. So what? We're looking like in the 90s?
Yeah, I'm actually 90 for all of them, over 90.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
so yeah,
Okay.
it's like 90, it might be 80 something for the pilot. Pilot is my lowest one. So I'm definitely like a 93 air traffic controller. 92 is the next highest score, 91 is the next highest score, and I think it's like 89 as a
For
pilot.
flight attendant and grounds crew?
hmm
Okay. Okay. So the reason that I brought that up is because with air traffic control, well, they prefer, like you said, I got a plan, this is my spreadsheet, what are these are the rules, this is what we're doing. So how do you relax or how do you see something and say, well, you know what, I don't have to be so regimented with this. I can be a little free and do it this way? Or
It's
does that
very,
not compute?
it's very hard to do.
Okay,
It is hard to do, I will admit.
okay.
I have to kind of know what the directions are before we get in the car. Where are we going? Otherwise, why
hmm
am I getting in the car if I don't know where I'm going? So it's hard to do, but there have been times where I felt like God told me to move, go, and then I will show you.
Okay,
And so in
yeah,
those
yeah.
instances, he's testing me and
hmm
my ability to trust the process because with my personality type, we very much like being in control of things,
hmm
and we're not, even though it very much feels like it. So it's hard to relax. And I have moved in some areas within the last, I would say, year.
hmm
It's been a little bit uncomfortable, but I didn't die. I'm still here. Sometimes we feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna die if this doesn't happen
It's
the
over. Why?
way.
Why?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, what are some things that you make yourself do to not be so rigid and just this lane and only this lane?
So I heard a pastor say years ago that Apple puts out products,
hmm
and then if there are errors and things that are wrong, they just fix it by doing the whole installs and like fix bugs. And that stood out to me because
Okay.
what I'm learning about the most successful people is that they move quickly in their decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not a
That's
lot
true.
of, okay, we got to do this and wait, I got to wait for that. And then this has to happen before I move. They move. And then if it's wrong, they quickly fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So shifting my mind to that mindset
hmm
has been a challenge, but I'm slowly, gradually going away.
Definitely. Yeah. Me too. Me too. That make a decision quick. And it's like, what? Well, wait a minute now. How many variables are in this? And it's like, you don't need to know all the variables.
Yes.
Are you going or not?
Yeah. Yes, 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 I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm coming.
Right. So, yeah, so that um I agree with you. It can be a little spooky, but then when you move through it, it's like, oh wait, hey, all right, I can walk through this. I can do that. So yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Um, so that's really good. So the fun in life. Talk about the fun in life for you.
Hmm. I'm still looking for balance.
Oh, come on now. It's always going to be a give and take. Well, okay, no, I'll ask you this because I believe when we say balance,
hmm
it's not like, okay, 25% fun, 25% work. It's not. It's okay, it's going to be 80% this week, and I might be able to do one fun thing,
hmm
but it's intentional and um, very, very directive, so to speak. So, like last weekend, it was, I think, 7 degrees outside,
Mm.
7. And I went outside to go to a play.
Oh, wow.
at
Okay.
the Detroit Repertory Theater, right? And that was like a really good afternoon.
That's
And I'm
good.
like, I'm proud of myself coming out in the frozen tundra
Right.
because I really I'm tired of being stuck in the house. I go outside to walk all the time, and yeah, I could walk on the treadmill, but I like walking outside,
Hmm.
especially by the riverfront. So yesterday I did that. Yep, it was 15 degrees, and I went outside
Oh.
because your body it wants that. You know
Mhm.
how well you're in Florida. Today it is sunshiny bright like it's July. Okay.
Nice.
And so when you look, it's like, I want to go outside. And it's like, well, no, maybe you should. So that's my take on balance. So tell me, what's balance for you? When you
Learning not to work every single day. So
okay, okay.
I've been really adamant about not working on the weekends. I'll be working after this podcast, but I normally try not to work on the weekends
Hmm.
and just relax and have fun. So what does
Okay.
have fun look like to me? I am a basketball girl. I always loved basketball. So when I was at home in
Hmm.
Michigan, I did go to the Detroit Pistons game.
Okay.
However, I was dealing with my anxiety because if you've been in that arena, if you
You
sit way up at the top, it feels
okay.
like you can just tip over.
In
So,
Comerica?
no, not Comerica, it's the arena. The name is escaping me right now. But it's where the
And I was
Pistons
thinking about that.
play. It's
Look,
the
I know we should
hydrant.
know, but yeah, where do they?
Joe
I
Louis
don't know.
Arena keeps coming up in my head, but I don't think it's
Okay,
called that anymore.
right.
I can't think of the arena, but it's on Woodward. It's down the street from
So it's like it's Ford Field, Comerica Park, Caesars.
yeah, Caesar's
There you
Palace.
go.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, look,
Yes.
shame on us.
Yes. So it's a nice palace. It's a nice arena, but boy, oh boy, in the
Okay.
inside, if you're all the way up at the top
Hmm.
and you have like anxiety, just be mindful.
Oh, okay. All right. The shallow stairs.
The stairs, it's not necessarily the stairs, it's just the way the seats are. It feels like, again,
Yeah.
if you
Hmm.
are looking down, if you look too far, you'll tip over. Even it's
Hmm.
not going to happen, but that's
Right.
just,
But that's that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Got it. Well, did you enjoy the company that you were with?
Yeah, I went with my dad. I enjoyed
Okay.
it.
All right. That
I
sounds
did.
like a good, yeah, a good treat.
It
Oh,
was. It was a good time.
okay. So you're intentional with your fun time as well.
Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. It's on my calendar. If it's not on the calendar, it's
Oh
not
yeah,
happening.
for sure. For sure. I remember my sister and I and two of our friends, we have a day where well, I'm retired. So they pick a day because they have to, go half a day at work or whatever. And
Mhm.
I didn't put it on my calendar nowhere. And they, okay, see you tomorrow at 2. And I was like, who's going somewhere at 2? What are we doing? They were like, Dana, we scheduled this like 3 weeks ago. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. I'll be there though. I gotta maneuver some stuff. So yes, ma'am. Gotta write it down. And that's okay. I think that that's okay
Mhm.
because we are in a space where we're moving and we're involved in different things, not
Mhm.
just for work, but for the community.
Mhm.
So we do have to put our fun time and doctor's appointments on the work calendar. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So good, good. All right. So give my listeners two nuggets, 2 or 3 nuggets on how they can not focus on what they don't have and move towards what they want.
First, remember, I read this book and it said start with the end in mind. So that
Hmm.
goes back to what is the end goal?
Okay.
And make sure you are reminded of that every day. Because the day you feel stuck, pull this note out to remind yourself that this goal has to be accomplished no matter what. And then just believe in yourself and
Hmm.
know that even if there are other people that may be doing what you desire, there's no one that can do it just like you.
Right.
So
Exactly. Exactly.
just put yourself out there and trust the process.
Good. Good. Um, I like the part where because people you hear this often as you go through, like you said, different masterminds, take different classes, and you hear people saying, "Oh, that industry, that job is saturated."
Mm-hmm.
But no, if that's the gift God gave me,
Mm-hmm.
then that means I'm supposed to be doing something
Mm-hmm.
in that space for a elite set of people that He thought I should help.
Exactly.
So that's how I look at it.
I agree.
Hmm.
He'll make room for you for sure.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So tell the listeners how they can find you. They may have heard something really good. They know someone that you can help, or themselves may need that help.
Yeah, so the website to our law firm is www.askew lawoffice.com, and we can be found on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, as well as TikTok at Askew Law Office.
Great. 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 So, all right, good people. I hope that this interview with my friend, Miss Shamika, helped you to understand some things about family law and about moving towards your goal. So don't forget to share, like, and please give a comment. Let me know what you thought about today's episode. All right. Thank you.